Whoa. Something's happened.
Difficulties, they happen all the time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. Cheese Me is on day release. Demon sub tries not to crease. And Ewok's keep it nice and warm. In bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the Candyman is opening another can. Technical difficulties, they're really such a crime. Technical difficulties, they happen all the time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. Sometimes they're salty about the gaming biz, and nobody knows who Outworlder is. Technical difficulties, they're really such a crime. Technical difficulties, they happen all the time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop 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 time.
Now then. Oh my god.
Technical difficulties happened early tonight.
I tell you what, back to the drawing board. Fucking hell. Good evening, everybody. I tried to be clever. Got this plug-in to switch when the theme tune ends. The problem is it's all based on a volume. Like, you have to pick when the song drops below critical
When
volume.
it reaches this threshold, yeah.
And because you've got these little gaps in the song where you get like pauses, they keep triggering it, and I can't find a window where it triggers at the end and not in these midsections. I pissed about with
Are
it.
you suffering from premature
transitioning?
track changing? Yeah, premature transitioning. That sounds wrong on so many levels. Now then, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, how are
Fucking
we all
hell.
doing?
So, back to the drawing board. It looks like it's going to be fucking manual from now on. Still, apart from the fact that the auto transition was a complete fuck up, the rest of it seems to have worked okay. So yeah, I will be having a fucking look and seeing what I can do.
Will it not physically do it on a
I cannot.
segment ending? Do you know what I mean?
No, I can't. You would think that it would be such a fucking obvious if audio file end, then transition blah. But it's not. You can't do that. When you pick up audio, you've got the only thing I might be able to do is set a timer. But I haven't worked out how to do that even. It's like fucking. If intro music is just decibel threshold, yeah, fuck knows. I will be back to the drawing board. If somebody's an expert at this fucking OBS shit, just
Where's
either
Tim when you need him?
email me or put the answer in the fucking comments. Can you actually trigger the advanced scene switcher to work when it's like comes to the end of a file? I mean, I would think that would be fucking obvious to build into it, but
Spam's
what do I
attacking
know?
us.
Why?
Got to be a record though. Technical difficulties before we even went live.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the fucking chaos. I think you're beginning. If nothing else, you know exactly what you're going to be expecting tonight.
We are nothing if not consistent.
Yeah,
Consistently
absolutely.
useless, but
Absolutely.
consistent nonetheless.
Right, come on, let's get this show rolling. First of all, let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. So, hello to Pandy. That's Paul from Pandyman Entertainment. Check him out online. Purveyor of the fantastic Trench Offensive and Threat Level Zero, his 2 miniature games. Altworlder, Trevor from our club. Darren, also known as Demon Sub on Instagram. Check him out for some great painting. Oh, we got Cheese Me. Hello, sir. Yeah, technical difficulties. Who else have we got in tonight? We have JJ. Hello, sir. One of the developers of Scythopian Wars. Fantastic miniatures game. Check it out. It's got some. How can we put this? It's got some elements of Infinity's reactions, AROs in it, with a really cool sort of like restriction system, which I can't really think of has been duplicated by any other game, where you take certain action. Well, I suppose, do you know what it's closest to? Although this is a board game, is Underworlds, isn't it? Because in Underworlds, you like if you take a move action, you then gain a move restriction. You can't do it again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sort of like that. But obviously much more sophisticated, as you'd expect from something that's a miniatures war game and not just a fucking board game. Hello to Chris, Crispy Wraps. Hello to Spam and Egg. That's David's other half, for those of you who don't know. And yeah, hello to everybody, the audience, our fantastic audience that make all of this worthwhile.
Now, boys and girls, can we just put our hands together for Spam and what she's done in the background?
Is that Spam? No, you said that Spam had been round. Is that her handiwork then? Was she a bit of a DIY whiz?
No, I put the holes in the wall. She and ordered the paints in order for her. She put them in the holders.
Hello to Angzar Arts. Good to see you, sir. A new name in the chat. Lurking and baking. That's a new one. Everybody's got to have a hobby.
What are you
Baking's
baking?
a good one. Yeah, anything cool. Anything sort of like yummy nummy. Yeah, so you made the holes, she filled them, yeah?
Yes. Yes. Apparently.
A variation on an all too common theme. I'm going to just tweak
Is
this
the
down a
table
fraction.
sort of clear? How about no, Trevor?
How about no?
How about no?
Right. So if you're new to the show, welcome to our chaotic Thursday night hobby live stream. We'll follow our normal format. So David and I will tell you what we're going to be working on. Then we'll have a chat about what we got up to at club. Then we will talk about some news. There's a fair bit to talk about that we've seen on the internet today. Hope Shark's in, because we're going to be talking about bolt action, aren't we? So, and I know Shark does like
Is it like Beetlejuice? If I go shark, will it summon him?
Oh, that would be so cool. I should get the Jaws theme.
Is that an IKEA pegging board? Yes, it is an IKEA pegging board with 3D printed holders. Oh, it's Aaron Reese, just under a different username, apparently.
Oh.
Angler.
Oh, nice to see you, Aaron. Yes, we were chatting to you the other day. Everybody's doing this. They can't keep us guessing with these usernames, don't we? We can't keep fucking up.
Makes us think we're more popular than we actually are.
Yeah, pegging board. Why did we go there? Well,
Yeah,
I
I
suppose
went there before everybody else went
yeah,
there because that was.
I started with Sam filling holes, didn't I? So I suppose it's sort of on me. So do you want to? I better get your. Did you set up a desktop camera, sir? In the end, I know you said
Yes, I
you
did set up a desk
Okay.
camera. It's fucking live, bitch.
Live. It's live. Right. Okay. Well, let's see what the fuck's going on then, mate. Video Ninja David. Pasty, wasted.
Or that
Better,
coffee stout is good,
better out
but
than in.
it is rich. It is rich.
Go on then. What are you up to?
What am I up to? It's painting comp week, boys and girls. It is on the steps to heaven. So, hello, Freya.
Ooh, I like it. I do like that. Nice hair. That's really nice hair.
Yeah, that's base coat.
How
That's
many?
not even highlighted.
Now your skin tone's beautifully coppery. Is that the end look, or have we got one more highlight, what are we going?
This is base coat with a wash.
Okay.
I'm going to go back in and do like I've done to Thor.
Oh yeah.
But not necessarily go so high.
That's much more Viking looking. She looks a bit sort of like North African at the minute.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That makes more sense, mate.
So we started on some gods this week. So I'm hoping to get Freya and Thor done this week, and then possibly some little husk.
Not a bad idea, Cheese me. If you want to message me,
the party.
So what's this? This is some of your other Ragnarok minis, just some random unit.
Yeah, random unit of Huskars and a random unit of Varangian Guard.
Actually, you probably could use a lot of your ship for Saga. You could probably build a Saga warband without buying anything. Scale might be a little bit off. But, you know, maybe they've just been eating their greens. Painting competition is next week, Chris. So obviously, as David said, the theme is on the steps to heaven or something similar. So if you want to send in an entry, there are two main ways to do it. You can, if you are on the Tabletop Discord server, you can send me a direct message there. And if not, why not? Because you should be. There is an email address in the video description where you can send your entries.
Just before we go away, boys and girls, I've done a thing.
Ooh, is that your clear PLA you've been playing with?
That is my clear PLA.
That works quite well.
So we've got some I've still got to sort out some windows, but we've got windows for my spaceship. I've got one more big 23-hour print to do on this, and then she's done, and then I can start painting her with all her interior and the fact.
Do those windows come out?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So you can basically paint and then put them back. That's cool, man.
And they just snap fit in. I don't even need to glue them in.
That's really cool.
By the time I put paint on, they'll be snapped in.
Yeah.
So that's that. And while the clear is still on the printer, as soon as stream is finished tonight, boys and girls, I will be printing icebergs and sheet ice for Armada, but more on that in a bit.
Darren says that looks very smooth for PLA. I mean, you could see the frosting in the glass, but the rest of it, you're getting a bit of a dab hand with the old PLA. What's your PLA printer?
It's a... Let me move you around, boys and girls. Let me take you out. Ignore the fact that shit's piled everywhere. Vauxhall Lab Aquila doesn't come like this as standard from the factory. Used to have the extruder up there and a Bowden tube feeding into it. Had nothing but issues with it, so I bought a Creality Sprite hot end. So the base print was 120 quid. The hot end was 120 quid, and she's golden.
Nice. Excellent job.
So
And that spaceship was you'll be doing a Darren says, "Can you print Gunpla?" He could print anything, Darren. For fuck's sake, don't encourage him. You're going to be doing a Darren, aren't you? And getting into the solo wargaming stuff. That's the idea, isn't it?
no spoilers. Spoilers.
Oh, I thought you said.
Spoilers. No, I haven't.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. That spoiled that. Because that's why you're doing your spaceship. You're doing you're preparing yourself. Which game is it you're doing? 5 parsecs.
5 parsecs, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Going solo.
We'll be doing some 5 parsec solo plays next year and recording them.
Yep, Cheeseby, that's right. Yep, he's playing with himself.
I already do multiple times, Cheesemy. It's no different to usual, mate. Let's be honest. We're all adults here.
Right, okay. So you're working on your painting competition, are you? You nasty.
Yes, I am working on my painting competition. What are you working on, Paul?
Apparently nothing. Because my desktop cam isn't working anymore.
That surprised me.
Hello.
Where did my Scrag Brown go? There it is.
I would love to work on my painting competition, but I know that's going to be way too intense for to do while we are hosting the show. I will show everybody how. So I'm doing. We're both copying each other's idea here. Where
you're copying my idea because I had it first.
I'm also doing a goddess from my Mythic Battles Pantheon.
Fucking hell, she's a bit fucking toasty.
Yeah. So all I've done at the moment is got the very base colours down. We've got some chocolate brown on everything that needs to be in that palette, and we're going to put what the sort of bluey grey we've got there is going to go up to a white. So I'm at the very earliest stages.
Yes, Cheeseme, I'm already misplacing paints because unfortunately tonight I'm using Citadel and I fucking hate Citadel. I really should do a 50-50 mix actually first.
So that's my painting competition. All I've got to do now is A, finish it, and B, remember to take it to club. But
fucking Jesus.
While we're on stream, I'm still working on these fucking things. So
what are these fucking things? Are these your barricades?
Wire. Yeah. So I need to basically go back in, paint the wire, and get these done. Then
what's wrong with Citadel, Trevor? Fuck off.
And then I want to put some static grass on the bases, just some little specks and spots, and bang, job done. One set of World War II barbed wire terrain features. So as that's an absolutely mindless job going around painting that metal, that's what I'm going to be doing when I get a chance. So there we go. Now then, mate, club. Do you want to go first with that as well?
Do I though? Do I? Yeah, fuck it, let's go. Okay. I played with Alex on Monday night. I played a game of. Shut up. It's a shame I don't have a fucking chalkboard thing that I can throw at you like you were used to when you went to school.
That'd be quite funny.
Back in your day.
Just sort of comes off screen bloody left.
Fucking Hempsall!
Douche. Ah!
So yeah, I played some Armada on Monday with the lovely Alex at Club. We played a 200-point game of Armada. I was playing Dwarves. Alex was playing the Northern Alliance. And it was a very fun, very close game. We played the In Hot Water scenario. I was 7-3 up going into turn 7 of an 8-turn game. And then it turns out if you put all of your eggs in the tiny little Thunderer basket from the Dwarves, so that
Oh
it's carrying
dear.
4 treasures and 4 victory points. When Alex sinks it, he ties the game.
Mistakes were made.
I wouldn't
Oh,
necessarily
brilliant.
say mistakes were made. It was just that's how the cookie crumbled that particular evening.
It sounds good though. So basically, it was like a tense game till right at the last moment.
Yes.
Excellent job. Now you've got some of your 3D printed terrain on there, haven't you? People who've watched
Yes,
our
I
games of
have.
Armada before will notice that it's now the stuff
It's
we've
very
used.
grey right now.
Well, yeah, but what I was going to say was the stuff we've used for Armada previously was been like repurposed jungle and rocks from like 28mm sort of scale terrain. How did
Yes.
you find and this has got significantly, I would say probably what, 2/3 of the normal terrain we have on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you find it with this smaller amount of terrain? Better
It
game?
worked. It worked quite well, really.
Okay.
And the other thing with the size of the terrain as well, I think the size makes quite a difference for like maneuverability and turning.
Yes.
Because again, we couldn't place anything within what was it? Within 12 of the volcano.
Which is the centerpiece there.
Yeah, which is the center. So obviously that opened up the center of the board a bit.
Yeah.
What we did, however, find quite interestingly is me and Alex got into some combats quite close to the edge of the board.
If you try hard enough, see, cheese me, yeah. It does take you 8 turns, but you can sink dwarf ships, yeah.
Yeah, but do you want to know which one he sank, cheese me?
It was the smallest one.
It was the smallest with only 20 hull.
I don't imagine the others were even close to sinking.
My big boy that had 75 hull points had 4 damage. That 4 damage came from the volcano, and that was it.
Yeah, because dwarves aren't OP in Armada, apparently. Anyway,
No.
you were saying.
Me and Alex found actually some quite interesting interactions at the edge of the board.
Okay.
So, when I boarded Alex, because Alex was the defender, Alex aligned to me. I was angled slightly off the edge of the board.
Yeah.
Which then meant in the next round, when Alex was trying to drive away,
He
Alex ended up off the board.
That's a bit shit.
You can come back on.
Yeah.
So it actually, having combat near the edge of the board works quite well.
Do you come back in the same turn?
You can fire. Yeah, you come back at the end of the round.
Right.
And you sit there for a turn next turn. So it does leave you a bit vulnerable if there's multiple ships.
Okay.
But if there's only one ship attacking you at the side, boys and girls, just go for the edge, so long as it's not like turn 7 or 8.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Because in a similar vein, my little boat was getting mobbed by Alex's Icekin flyer, and I just went, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to go off the board
to keep out
because he's got an entire turn of just dicking around while I'm off the board. He can't attack me, damage me, do anything to me when I'm not on the board.
Okay.
So.
Aaron's not wrong. But he's definitely on our wavelength. That's brilliant. Oh dear. Especially with the dicking around. Yeah, the whole thing's getting a bit dodgy. Right. I played Bolt Action 3rd edition for the first time. So, yeah, Cheeseby says unseemly first time. No, I don't. I think Aaron knows the drill.
I mean,
he's been here before.
We've already had pegging, gay innuendo, technical difficulties in the first 20 minutes of the show, boys and girls.
Yeah,
it's just normal service, really.
Yeah, normal service has been resumed. So yeah, now then, first game of 3rd edition, Blotty Action. I played my Japanese. Ricky played his Germans, late war Germans. Mine's early war His late war. Don't care. We were just really trying to get the mechanics down. We were very light on terrain. Yeah, not hardly anything, Trevor, because we just wanted to get the fucking game going and let's see what it's like, this new edition. And I tell you what, I really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the new version of Bolt Action. The I
Is it what we said though?
no,
Is it more? No, just wait. Is it more of a roll fest now?
no, not at all. It's quicker.
Okay.
I was, if you want to see us talking nonsense and getting it completely wrong, we did do a sort of, when Bolt Action was first announced, we went into the dice mechanics, and I didn't get it. I couldn't see how going to a Games Workshop three roll resolution for combat with the saving throw at the end would be better or quicker than their two roll sort of like hit damage model. But when you play it, the amount of having just virtually no modifiers on shooting. I mean, admittedly, this game was very light on cover because we didn't play with much terrain, which definitely does skew things a little bit. But actually, the fact that you don't have range modifiers for shooting, going down doesn't affect shooting. To actually just calculate. The other thing is, because of the way they've divided the dice up and they've divided the modifiers up, you virtually never get into a situation where you're sixes into sixes. So, like, in 99% of the cases that you could think of, your worst case scenario is you need 6 to hit. Worst case scenario, you need like 5 or 6 to damage. Worst case scenario, the opponent's got a 2+ save. So you don't have this. I've only got a 3% chance of getting a hit.
And again, you don't spend fucking 10 minutes working out what's the most beneficial thing to shoot at, because that's got that cover modifier,
Yeah, exactly.
And that's got this range modifier and everything else.
Definitely a factor. Definitely a factor. The other thing that I thought would be a thing is that because hitting was all easier, that pins would be worse. So, like, because you didn't have this, oh, well, I can get you to needing a 3% chance to hit me. So, like, you have very rarely putting pins on a unit with tons of shooting. I thought, well, if you can now hit on a 4+ base with only a modifier for having moved most of the time, you're going to be putting pins on things left, right, and centre. Didn't really play out that way. The game state felt very similar to all the games of second edition we've played. So again, I just think they've obviously, kudos to the development team at Warlord. They've obviously done the play testing well. I really enjoyed it, and it was faster. Not having to, being able to quickly, you'll need a 5 up to wound because I'm veteran, and then I get no save because there's no cover, or I'll go down for a 5+. The resolutions were snappy. The most, I think, we had, the most I think we ever had was 2 pen. I mean, again, just the fact that you don't get -1 to hit for every single pin on you, it's just the maths is just completely different. But yeah, I don't know. The pins seemed as impactful to me as they were before, Aaron. Because again, in the game, there was a time when I desperately needed my unit to kill some Germans, and I only had a couple of pins on me, veteran unit. I rolled a 10. So game over. I got, it was like we go down. So it definitely impacted the game. Well,
Question: did I hear you saying HE is a little bit broken now?
the only moment of the game where we had that was a little bit brutal, was when I called in an airstrike with a forward observer, an air observer, and I wiped out 9 out of 10 of a German infantry unit, veteran German infantry
Jesus.
unit. But to be fair, Ricky had literally just moved them up in a little fucking tic-tac-toe square. So when I put the HE3 template on them, I basically hit everybody, like, hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s. It was like, or it was, in fact, it's like auto hitting, wounding on 2s because of the bloody HE3. It was like, yeah, delete. But he didn't go down. Upwelder, yes. If he'd have gone down, not only would he have halved the hits, but he would have got a 5-up save. I think you still get cover saves from HE. Correct me if I'm wrong. We only played one game, so I don't know. But the other thing is, he could have just strung his men out. He had plenty of space. He didn't have to push them all up as a block. As I say, we really weren't try-harding this. We were just, what happens, what happens when we roll the dice here. He certainly would have halved the number of hits from 9 to 5. So, even if I'd have rolled no 1s, I would have only killed 5 Germans, not 9, by going down. So,
Cheese me's gone. I think not. It's HE.
yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense you don't get cover saves with HE. Yeah, we weren't. The verisimilitude wasn't great in the play. But as I say, it was a quick and dirty game. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a tactical error. But in the end, I tell you the other thing, right? So for those of you who've played Bolt Action know that in the second edition rulebook there were 12 scenarios. 6 were more balanced for competitive play, and 6 were a little bit more eccentric in terms of their win conditions and like deployments. They were, shall we say, a little bit fragile.
A little bit zany.
Yeah, and they were designed more for people who were enjoying the game rather than looking for that super balanced experience. They've sort of done away with that, and in third edition, it's a bit like 40K's scenario game generation system, where everything's random deployment, random objectives, random sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Random maps, random deployment zones. I think it works. It gave us, we got the demolitions one where we each had, you see, I will say it gives you some very odd games. So we had a game where the objective was to destroy your opponent's base, which had to be placed in their deployment zone 4 inches from the table edge, I think, something like that, or within 4 inches of the table edge. But then we also rolled a deployment method where units could enter from any side of the board from turn 2. So effectively what you could do was just, if you got lucky, you just put a unit on the board next to your opponent's base, and if it was still there at the end of the turn on a 4+, you won. So the potential for this game to end in turn 2 was fucking huge. However, because both players could do it, we both had to do the same thing, which was basically
Keep
put
back and guard it.
an infantry screen around our bases so that knowing the opponent could potentially just plop something next to us, shoot us, charge in on turn 3 and take it out. So and to be honest, I think we got to the end of turn 4 and I had a chance to win at the end of turn 3 when I got access to the German base, but I rolled a 1 and I needed a 4+ to blow it up. So it took us into turn 4, and Ricky basically just brought in. He drove my models off my base, then brought in a German command section that he'd held in reserve, and just plopped it next to my base, and then at the end of turn we both rolled a 4 up and the game was a draw. So yeah, it was I can see some players go, well, that's a fucking ridiculous scenario. It's gonna.
I was just about to say, like, from the sounds of it compared to mine and Alex's game, you were way less in control of who was winning.
No,
with that 4-up roll random.
Yeah, exactly.
You both
Yeah,
drawing.
absolutely spot on, mate. The way that the RNG could have swung that game was huge. Like, literally in that last turn 4, if I'd have rolled another 1 or 2 or a 3 and Ricky had rolled his 4 up, bang, I lose. And it's like, but do you know what? Cheese Me makes the point. It was a silly scenario, but was it fun? Yeah, absolutely. It was fun because, again, don't get me wrong. You could definitely see, well, this is the RNG can punish the shit out of me here, but it's not as if I didn't have options, because, I mean, again, particularly as I was running veteran Japanese who are very good in close combat, they're all fanatic. I could just screen my base out, and even his veteran Germans, they're not. The pins don't make any difference in combat, It was not an easy thing for him to do. So again, yes, it could have. Yes, RNG played a massive factor in the game, but it did not spoil the enjoyment. It was still a fun game, and the most important thing for me is the pacing of 3rd edition seems great. The other thing that was quite interesting as well is that because of the way the new rules work, I was not able to bring my Chiha tank because I didn't have anything that could be a command vehicle or a command option for an armoured platoon in my collection. So
it's going to change your list build.
Basically, I was running all infantry Japanese with just a few knee mortars against a Panzer IV. And an SDK half track. So
how did that go for you?
It was fine. It was absolutely fine. In fact, it was better than 2nd edition. I didn't feel he had so his Panzer IV has 2 medium machine guns, I think, on it. The SDK has a medium machine gun. But the way that the rules work, where they're rolling half the number of shots, even with his Hitler's buzzsaw rule, because basically my infantry were dug in on a bridge and able to go down, he was, with 2 vehicles and 3 medium machine guns, he was killing 1 or 2 Japanese infantry models a turn. By turn 4, he hadn't even chewed through a squad in a command section with his 2 vehicles. And basically, I mean, it was working for him in the game because obviously I just kept having to eat dirt to avoid dying. So he shut down. He used 2, but again, he used 1 relatively expensive vehicle and a half track to lock down 10 Japanese veteran infantry and a command section. It's like, I'm like, fine, if that Panzer's not doing anything but just fucking firing at that infantry squad.
If that Panzer's not going hunting, we're fine.
Yeah. It. I mean, the scenario definitely plays into it, Cheese Me. I can see that because obviously it was in his interests to stop my infantry unit being yet another thing that could put pressure on his base. And the other thing about the scenario is, you see, again, the scenario, vehicles cannot capture the base. It has to be an infantry or artillery model, I believe. So the vehicles were useless in terms of capturing my base for him. So
right, just before we go into the news, boy.
Yeah, that was a bit waffly. Anyway, the TLDR is I quite enjoyed Bolt Action 3rd Edition, and I will be playing more of it. So
what do we reckon to her hair?
Right, David's going to David's cam. If you've played 3rd Edition, what are your thoughts in the comments? Are you moved from 2nd? Did you enjoy it? Did you have preconceptions? Did you keep an open mind? Yeah, I like the hair, mate. What have you just done? A little bit of dry brushing?
No, lining.
Edge highlighting. Yeah, it's looking good.
With
you got 3 colours.
Order. So I went 50-50 blend, that on its own, then that as a highlight.
How did that cloak come out? Because that's raven feathers, isn't it?
It's come out, so I dry brushed that with some of this.
You can see the blue on it. Yeah, you can see the blue on it.
And then did a blue-grey just to get the final edges, just to give it a tint.
Do you think you're going to go one paler, or is it done?
No, I don't want to. I'm leaving it there, nice and dark.
Okay, cool.
Then I'm going to do a skin in a minute. I've got to do her front and her corset, which I think I was going to do it red leather, but it's too close to her hair, so I think I'm going to go for a chocolate leather now instead.
Oh, that's a bummer, Aaron.
Yeah, that's where Crispin is, isn't he? Eating turkey.
Oh yeah, of course. For our American viewers, happy Thanksgiving.
So, right, let's go to the news.
Let's go to the news. God, have we got some stuff to talk about? Right, okay, let's crack on, because we've only got 20 minutes. Oh, tell you what I did forget to mention. After we've talked about the news, we've got our main topic o'clock. See the thumbnail.
No, Trevor, I just thought I'd leave my painting competition completely and utterly blank.
Oh, what a sarcastic twat. Right, so, Lords of War Games and Hobbies. Their video, they had to join in and do a video comment on the...
Is there anybody that hasn't done a video comment on Trench Crusade at this point?
To be fair, yeah, a ticker sound effect for the news.
No, Trevor, because Viking steel is steel, not light blue.
Oh my god. So yeah, I don't know, mate. £3 million or $3 million on a Kickstarter. You can't really blame everybody for having an opinion on it.
I even got asked about it at work by one of the
Really? Did you?
The war game. He's like, "Did you see that? What's it called? Trench Crusade?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Did you back it?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh."
Oh. A lot like that, did it? Oh.
Yeah.
Why was he thinking about it?
I think so.
Anyway, Lords of War have an interesting spin because they're shop owners. And I tell you what, watching this video gave me a thought that maybe we should talk about as a topic. And I'll be interested to see what our audience thinks, both in the chat here and in the comments below. Basically, what they're saying is, yeah, fine, but we run a shop. So what does it mean for us? Fuck all. Because there's no retail option, is there? None of this is ever going to go onto shelves, probably.
True, that's a point. I suppose the only thing is longer term, if there's some proxy minis or they do take it to market afterwards, and rather than shipping direct to customer,
Yep.
they allow some stockists to stock said items.
Yeah. I mean, you've just said it. I don't know if they've actually set in stone what they're going to do. I mean, I don't imagine they were expecting to get $3 million, and whether they've now said, maybe the customer base would stand a retail release or some sort of marketing model. Maybe they're going to build a whole company on it, or maybe they're just going to do the periodic Kickstarter thing, which is a bit more typical for these small games.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough one because.
But my thought was
most other pledges, like the Mantic stuff, etc., as you say, come with that option of: are you a retailer? Would you like to have some retail buying?
Yeah, but Mantic already have that as a business part of their business model, don't they? But it did make me think, as hobbyists. Obviously, we love these big juicy Kickstarters where we back them for a shit ton of cash. But maybe by actually backing these campaigns that have no ambitions for retail, are we sort of killing our own industry? As I say,
I like it. I like it.
I wondered if there was something to explore there. Because, I mean, the thing is, it's a complex thing because it varies from country to country. Here in the UK, we really do not have a retail sector for our hobby. Big cities might have a store, an independent gaming store that sells the bigger ranges. And you will
if you're Norwich, you've got two.
And if you're a medium-sized town or bigger, you've got a Games Workshop. Games Workshop monopolise retail, but then again, they are exclusive. It's like a fucking Disney store. It doesn't stock anything else. So they really don't count. They don't serve our industry at all. They only serve Games Workshop's ends. And Games Workshop are extremely exclusionary. But in America, it's completely different. Vast majority of American retailers are independent. A lot of the play space in America, the public play space, whereas we have clubs and societies with like scout huts and village halls and that sort of thing, pub back rooms. In America, the public play spaces are in the shops. As I say, I just thought it was an interesting perspective. I mean, I totally understand their sort of like, meh, who cares? But then I thought, yeah, but if this is the way things are going, are they all screwed? Games Workshop are monopolising their sector of the market, and they just throw these guys some secondary crumbs for their 15% discount. And then if all the independent guys are going, well, we're going to go direct to customer, we're going to go campaigning on Kickstarter, GameFound, whatever, Pledge My Nuts, or whatever the fuck the next one will be that'll pop up.
I've already got that one on GoDaddy, mate. that's in the background, ready to go.
Pledge My Nutsack. So yeah, anyway, good video, worth a watch. These guys are quite funny and entertaining. They don't take themselves at all seriously. They're just my sort of content creators. They don't have a rod up their arse. They're just good fun. But as I say, the deeper question is quite thought-provoking, I think, for all of us in the hobby. Where am I? So next, this was Miniac's. So Miniac did a video about game design. And obviously this is something that David and I are always prattling on about, offering out ill-informed and ignorant opinions on this game design, that rule, these these features of a game, blah blah blah. So you can imagine that this was right up my street. And you know what? It's great. He comes across as somebody who's actually passionate, has done a ton of research, and it's just really well designed, well structured video. And if you're at all geeky or nerdy about how games work and how the things that our toys, get to be the toys that they are, worth a watch. Definitely.
Bear with me, I just need to lean and get on. Do I need to lean and get
GW
some
were
rain?
also quite aggressive when they placed their stores in the UK. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically, Darren, they, as soon as they made that decision, it was in the 80s, wasn't it? Because obviously the original Warhammer stores, the handful that they had, were basically generic. And then they made that decision to basically clear everything from the shop that wasn't owned brand. And at that point, it became we only have one objective, which is to step on the neck of everybody else. So, it was fucking bollocks. And I tell you what, I think it's a pivotal moment in the history of our hobby in this country. People say, oh yeah, but Games Workshop wouldn't be as big as they are if they hadn't created the monopoly they created to serve their own ends and blow themselves up to be big, blah blah blah. Maybe, but maybe the actual gaming market would be bigger, even if they weren't so fucking huge. And maybe it wouldn't be so sort of like crushed beneath the jackboot of GW. Anyway, that's...
Or
Get the
culty.
salt shaker out. Fucking, we're getting sidetracked. So yes, if you're at all nerdy about game design and rules, watch it. This is a great video. Peachy asked a question to which the obvious answer is yes, mate. Peachy's done a video on 7TV, the miniatures game, and asking the question, is it the most underrated tabletop game? Yeah, I would say so. I don't know. What do our people in the chat think about 7TV? Have you ever played it?
Played any?
No, you haven't. I've played the only 7TV I've played in cold blood is at conventions. I've played demo games 2 or 3.
That's sacrilegious when you own so much of
Yeah.
it and you do.
We need to get it to the table.
Can you do it solo?
You could, yeah. There's no reason why not. The same, you could do it solo just like you can do any war game solo. Just play yourself. Yeah. Again, I totally get it, Aaron. The fact that they are publicly listed now, that ship has sailed. It is, you can't go back. They are now locked into monopoly, profit, growth every year, crush. And again, I'll be honest, they're like any corporate body, like any corporate business. Even if people, because I tell you what, if people like Warlord and Mantic start to actually do very well, watch out for the hostile takeovers, because they have big, deep pockets. If they even think they're losing the fucking war, they'll just buy people out. They will not. PG is a fool of a talk. Pandy says, I've reached out to Elemental, but not Goblin.
I'm sorry, what, Pandy?
Element. You're talking about the retailers. Yeah, Goblin might be worth reaching out to, and I tell you who else might be interested. Zatu. Zatu, an online retailer I use all the time. Yeah, that's fair. Cheese me, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
You might also have Athena in Norwich, because Athena are online as well.
But yes, I personally am a fan of 7TV. The only thing that's a bit weird about this video is that, and it's weird but in a good way, is I get the feeling that Peachy's done this very much off his own bat. I don't think he's been approached by Crooked Dice or, sort of sponsored to do it. And the reason I say that is he focuses his video around the old starter sets, the Spy-Fi, the Apocalypse, and those are all dead now. 7TV's new edition focuses around the core rule set and then genre guides, and everything is, they don't do the box set model anymore. So his sort of like his core spiel about the products is a bit out of date. But I thought, oh, that's quite nice, because maybe he's just doing it because he actually just loves the game. And do you know what I mean? Maybe that's massive copium, and I'm being hugely optimistic. But painting Santa. Oh my god! Stop it! We're still painting Santa.
Glazes to not separate.
Which glaze are you trying to use?
I've just tried making one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, the problem with with an acrylic paint, yeah, you need to use medium, mate, because obviously once you start to alter you should know this as an engineer. Once you alter the chemistry of the base, then it will just break down, man. Oh my god, everybody's absolutely laying into the Santa fucking thing in the chat. No, not painting any Santa. Satan. Satan is an anagram of Santa. Uncle Nick is red. Maybe Christmas is evil. I'm going to tell the wife.
Another year and not David nor Paul having painted anything Santa, just saying.
Oh my god. No,
don't you fucking dare.
Right, what else do we have? Dave from MS Paints did a great video. Again, I think he's not the only guy to have done this.
When has Dave ever made a bad video?
Do you know what? The laziest videos he's made are his like live stream style ones where he talks with that mate of his and they do like an hour and a half just chin wagging.
Or when he painted, what's it called the other month? Fallout.
Yes, I guess that was quite basic bitch, but otherwise his
I watched this. This
made.
was fucking amazing.
Yeah, and do you know what? I cannot advocate the sentiment enough that you people have got to stop beating themselves up about their painting not improving and not making progress and not getting better. It's like if you want that, you have to set that as an objective and dedicate a huge amount of time to it. Yeah, it is not going to happen without that. So if you just want to get your models on the table and not be embarrassed to show your mates, you're going to have to come to a point where the time you've got equals the results you can realistically achieve and not have it take over your goddamn life. So videos like this from these big content creators, I love it when people take it's just constantly pushing back against this fucking this Instagram I'm a golden demon painter fucking loop thing where people are just like, oh my god, look at this. Yeah, but that's 200 hours just to paint a model's ass. You know. What did you say, David?
I'm getting attacked in chat.
Oh my god. So yeah, do you know what? Give yourself a break, watch this video, and stop beating yourself up about your painting not being fucking Golden Demon winning. Because here is the news, unless you absolutely make that your sole objective in life, it probably won't be. And if you
do that... It probably never will.
If you do that, don't expect to play more than a couple of games of anything a year. Particularly if you are married, have a job, have kids as well. It's like, not going to happen. Brilliant. Great to mention.
A ring for Christmas, that'd be a present, or paint Santa. Knowing David, it'll be a Haribo ring.
Yeah, but you could paint it gold.
I'm not even rising to it.
Great to mention Ben from On Tabletop. I don't normally watch a lot of Ben's channel, not because it's not good, but because he does bang on a lot about Lord of the Rings, and I'm not really. I've liked Middle Earth strategy battle game. I've played it twice. I enjoyed my games. I have a small army of Sauron forces, Witch King of Angmar, some Goblin Warg Riders. Yeah, so I've got a bit, but I've never deep dived, never really gone into it big style. So I don't normally watch his videos, but I noticed he actually made a video about burrows and badgers, which as those of us who are on tabletop fans know, he bangs on about all the fucking time on the
There's a new
weekenders
edition
and stuff.
coming in. War of the Rohirrim.
The new edition is already out, I think, for strategy battle game. I could be wrong. I know that they're overhauling the miniature range, and they've got big plans for the property, and you know, oh my god, look at spam. I'm still on the market. Fucking hell. You are getting fucking roasted. Oh dear. Have I got the link for the burrows and badgers? Yeah. No, Oathsworn Miniatures, all one word, .co.uk, Trevor. If you just search burrows and badgers in Google, it'll be in the top 3 searches. Because
Are you looking forward to Underworlds on Monday, Paul?
Yeah, I am actually. I will do, mate. Okay. Do you know what, Darren? You should definitely. Oh my god, mate! You should definitely paint burrows and badgers miniatures. I bet they'd look amazing with your style, and they'd be right up your street. I tell you what. I think this has been said on the stream before. I am not. David You're a very miniatures guy, mate, aren't you? They're sort of like probably in your top thing
they
that
just
you look
don't.
at.
The Burrows doesn't do anything for me.
No, I was just saying, but generally you're a miniatures guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not. I don't really give a shit generally about the miniatures that I play with. I'm a game guy. The exception is this game. This is the one miniature range I could collect just to have all of the miniatures because they're fucking cool and look so amazing. But the aesthetic just ticks every box for me. So anyway, coming back to Ben basically does a video about burrows and badgers because there is a new edition dropping. Second edition's dropping April time, sometime next year. Don't know any details. I don't know if it's a Kickstarter. Don't know if it's a retail release. Don't know what. I suspect it'll be Kickstarter because that's what Oathsworn have been doing in the past.
Have you actually got your notifications turned on?
Yes, don't worry about it. I have liked everything that they've done before, even the Kickstarters I didn't back, so that Kickstarter will definitely tell me when they launch it. Yeah. Oh, he's got it right. Okay. I'll have to search your Instagram for a picture. I imagine it will be, Trevor. What I'm hoping, and my wallet isn't hoping this, but what I'm hoping is that if they do kickstart the new edition, there might be options in the pledge manager to buy like bundles of their previous Kickstarters, so that maybe I could get some like whole chunks of models. Because the other thing is, do you know what? They do paint. They don't take a long time to paint either. The biggest issue with them is chipping because they're metal, but they are fantastic. Again, David, not his thing, but yes, Burrows and Badgers. If you haven't played Burrows and Badgers, please do some research on it. The other thing that's great about Ben doing a video is this game is not heavily covered on YouTube. Not a lot of people are making content about this game. And whether that's because it's twee or I don't know, but it obviously isn't something that's being done out there. So it's great to see Ben doing some videos, and he's promised some follow-up content, like showcasing his models and that sort of thing. So hopefully that'll happen. Are we getting there?
I don't know. We're late for main topic.
Shut
Get the
up.
fuck on with it. Speed run, speed run, speed run, speed run, speed run.
Okay, so Squidmar.
Go,
I told you it was a good week for YouTube. Squidmar did a video where I thought it was clickbait, but I wasn't sure. When they basically said that they bought all of the scam products from Army Painter. And basically what they've done is they've tested like the fucking hobby tools, like the clippers and the pin vise and all of the ancillary shit that you buy when you start the hobby. And it's quite an entertaining little video. Their scoring system's a bit bizarre because it's a scam score, so the lower the score, the better the item, which takes some getting your head around. But it's quite interesting because if any of you guys have watched a lot of Squidmar content, it's all very polished. There's no swearing. There's no effing and blinding. It's all, it's scripted, and there's lots of cutaways and, extended camera shots.
It's the antithesis of what we are.
This video is just them sitting, swearing at each other and taking the piss. Which is like, okay, this is definitely a different Squidmar style. So yeah, watch it. It's worth it. And, the other thing is, you learn that actually, if you're an entry-level person and want to get some cheap hobby tools, Army Painter, 8 out of 10 of them are good value for money and a fraction of the cost of, like, wankers like GW. Yes, there are the premier brands that give you better products, but Army Painter's not a bad choice 8 out of 10 times. And lastly, but not leastly, Uncle Atom did a video on his 3 favourite war games rules mechanics, and like he says in his video, technically 3.5, although at the end it's not a war game mechanic. He just likes games where everything's in one rule book. So I suppose it's something he likes, but it's not really a rule.
See, I would agree with him there, but he obviously clearly has never played Carnivale.
I don't know, maybe he hasn't. But we may at some point, David and I obviously did a response video to one of his videos before, the one where he said 3 things he doesn't care if he never sees again in war games. And we might do a response video to this because it's quite easy, and I agree with 2 out of his 3 choices. I'm not going to spoil it, but I don't entirely agree with all of his choices. Although David will fucking call me out. Piss. Citadel has better starter dolls. Pandy, get out. Fucking hell. Right, I think that's it. That's it. That's all the news. That's the entire internet. Internet, done it, mate.
Completed it, mate.
Completed it, mate. No spoilers. But we might do that as a topic. Our favourite 3 wargame mechanics or rules. We got some ideas. So
Freya's
yeah.
Nearly done, boys and girls.
What, are you nearly done?
Yeah, Freya. She's
Bastard. Right, well, I'm going to get some metallic paint out. I'm going to get some Vallejo natural steel on the go, and I'm going to paint at least 2 of these fucking...
You want this shit. You want tungsten steel from fucking TT Combat. That shit is my go-to now. It's a beautiful consistency.
I'm going to have to buy some TT Combat paints. You've got 3, haven't you? And they're all good.
I've got 2.
2.
I have Resistance Rust, which I haven't tried, and I need to try against the colour primer, spray primer that they do. And then I have Tungsten Steel.
Yeah, the other thing, Aaron, is Army Painter have gone to... I mean, the transformation that company's made in the last 12 months, 18 months, they've gone from being the joke of the market, the butt of everybody's fucking joke with their Army Painter standard range of paints. With the release of the Fanatic paint set, they went from being the butt of everybody's jokes to being right up there with two thin coats, Vallejo, Citadel.
See, I don't like two thin coats.
I've never used them. The one reason I would not ever buy them is that he's premium priced himself as the most expensive paint range per mil on the market, in a market where there's already plenty of expensive fucking paints. Pro Acryl, Citadel. It's like, Duncan, really? We needed another more expensive option? No thanks, mate. I'm good.
Do I just contrast? Probably shouldn't.
So,
Actually, I got overspill.
the main topic o'clock. David and I have had a year, haven't we, mate?
I mean, it's been 12. It's nearly been 12 months, and I feel like I've blinked and the entire year has disappeared. But yeah, we had a year. We had an agreement the beginning of January with some what's it called? Some resolutions, some hobby resolutions.
Oh yeah, you've got a list, haven't you?
And I think we got 2 episodes in, and we said, actually, fuck it, we're going to add terrain to the list this year, which we did, and we'll discuss it more in a minute. But by focusing on terrain, what's happened to us and our hobby? This is what we're talking about.
Do you want to recap? Shall we start
Let's
recapping our resolutions?
Sorry, wait a minute. Got the paperwork right here. So, Paul's list. He was going to complete a full miniatures board game, either Mansions of Madness, Assassin's Creed, Gotham City Chronicles, Mythic Battles, Pantheon, or Big Trouble in Little China, and he was mainly leaning towards Assassin's Creed. How's that gone for you, Paul?
But absolutely fucking disastrously. Let me talk a little bit about it. So let's go through the options. Mansions of Madness is definitely the easiest low-hanging fruit, and if I was a smart man, I'd have done that one. But I haven't even looked at it because I got excited about the Batman Gotham Chronicles Kickstarter, the fourth wave or whatever that got delivered. So I looked at Gotham City Chronicles and then started painting a ton of those. Gotham City Chronicles has got more fucking miniatures than Assassin's Creed. It is insane. I will never paint this in a year. Even if I make it the only resolution, I'll never paint this game in a year. I am still painting the miniatures I require for Scenario 1. I need something like 30 or 34 different painted miniatures just to play the first fucking scenario in the game.
And we thought Assassin's Creed was bad.
So yeah, I basically stalled on Assassin's Creed, looked at Gotham City Chronicles and had massive regrets. Skipped on the fucking easy option because I'm an idiot. And ended up
currently painting some Mythic Battles Pantheon.
Yes, and Mythic Battles Pantheon, which again, do you know what? Mythic Battles Pantheon wouldn't be if I was just letting myself off with, oh well, I'll only paint base game. I might be able to get this done by January because I've got 2 gods, a Minotaur, a Hydra, and I think about 3, a couple of centaurs and some zombie-looking guys.
This list getting bigger the more you're saying about it.
But it's still 12, 15 models compared to Jesus Christ.
The best I think at the start of the year when I rewatched this video earlier was you were like, I'm not doing it because it's not solo and I'm not getting into it because there's only me that plays it. And then
yeah, but then
I bit the game, didn't I? And
yeah, well,
I went and bought fucking Norse gods.
So yeah, okay. So I said I would paint a miniatures board game. Whap, whap,
You must now commit seppuku.
Didn't happen.
No,
What else?
Upwelder, fuck off. You said you were going to paint and play with your AVP minis.
Oh my Christ. Yeah, not happened. I haven't even looked at them because, do you know what? I can't stop buying games.
What have you bought this year instead of playing with your AVP stuff, Paul?
What have I bought this year? I've bought Saga.
Yeah.
Did we buy Moonstone this year or was that last year? This year, I think, wasn't it?
Moonstone was last year, mate. I hate to break
The
it to you.
Apocalypse game from bloody the company that does the Free League.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Mutant Year Zero. There we go.
Mutant Year Zero, that's it. I knew what I meant, even if I didn't say it. Yet another massive board game with a shit ton of miniatures.
What massive board game would that be? Would that be Maladon that arrived?
No, that's Harakiri Blades of Honor. But I have also bought Maladon, which has not quite as many a fuck ton of miniatures. A tiny fuck ton of miniatures.
Half a fuck ton, not a full fuck ton.
Correct. I think it's fucking amateur numbers, like about 40. It's like,
should we go to the one thing that you did manage to do and do really well this year?
What's that?
Go to one more show this year. Not only, boys and girls, did he go to one more show, we attended both Partisans, and Paul went all the way over to ChillCon on his own.
Yeah, so I smashed one of my three.
We're down one because we didn't go to Hereward.
That's true. Which was but it was cancelled, so that would have been hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, technically, I suppose we did drop one. So I'm lucky I picked up two. Otherwise, I'd have broken even and failed that fucker as well. So yes, mate. I managed to smash 1 out of 3 out of the park, and frankly, it was the sitter.
I'm just about to lean out of shots a minute before I attack myself.
Yeah. So yeah, didn't really do great with the old fucking resolutions, did I?
Bollocks. Right, I lent out of shots. Here we go. Shall we start with what I really, really didn't get done this year?
Yeah. So what did you commit yourself to? What did you sign in blood to do?
I signed in blood that I was going to do full spectrum dominance, print and make an army and do some games. And
oh, sorry. Oh dear.
Boys and girls, this is the state of my full spectrum dominance army. It's still all on sprue, still not all printed. And
should I bring up the cam so that everybody can see you the extent of your fantastic...
let's actually fully fucking humiliate myself here. I'm just rejoining now because
that's fine.
I decided to die. There we go.
What about Assassin's Creed, Dave? Yeah.
Assassin's Creed
oh my
God!
God! I can't believe Trevor's actually, because he did finish his was to get his Malifaux crew painted, wasn't it, Trevor? And he actually did. Yes, Aaron. Aaron says this is what happens when your fucking imagination is bigger than your motivation. No, it's what happens when you're a fucking braggart and a tosspot.
Come on.
Go on, then. You're on.
So
you're live. You're live.
We have bits of a full.
Don't say fuck or bugger.
Army. We have bits of a full spectrum dominance army.
Okay, so it's. I mean, progress was made. Infinitesimally small progress, but progress nonetheless.
I mean, infinitesimally small progress. Have you seen the size of the miniature? That's. This is 10 mil. This is bigger than it should be. It should be 6. Yeah, that's the thing, boys and girls. So yeah, I made some progress, but not enough to be probably considered a success.
So we're predicting that's probably not going to be finished December the 31st then, as it goes.
No, probably not. Is the honest answer.
Okay.
Yes, we are, JJ. We are.
What's that?
We booked in for UKG.
Oh, of course we are, sir. Yes. Yeah, we definitely will be.
like to come off my desk cam?
Yes, I will do, mate. Yes, and it'll be great to see you there. Looking forward to it.
Shall we go to the next element?
Come on, mate.
the
Redeem
list?
yourself.
Here we
You
go.
can do this. You can do this. You've got this.
175 miniatures for the year.
Jesus Christ, he's putting numbers to it.
I did put numbers to it. 'cause we
Even
averaged
Keir
it out and it
Starmer
was
wouldn't put numbers to
roughly-
his immigration policy earlier. You're just
It
being
was
reckless.
roughly 3 a week, just over 3 a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Haven't probably got there this year.
The fact that you say probably means that I'm guessing you haven't worked it out.
Well, I have 60 worms in a box, but they're not finished. They're all just sort of base coated.
Okay, so they're not done. Okay, now talk about the ones that you have done.
Hang on. There's a couple of painting comp entries. That's been about it.
Fucking hell.
Literally been about it.
I'll tell you what, guys. Make a note of this. Just timestamp this, because this is the biggest indication that what we're leading into is actually a thing. Because if you look at David in 2023, you actually didn't do too bad, did you, Paint? You aimed at 50 odd and got over it, didn't you?
No, I aimed for 2 a week and smashed it.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So,
that's why I
okay.
said I'll go to 3 a week.
Yeah, easily achievable. Did it last year. No problem. No worries, mate.
And again, I knew that I had worms coming. Worms was relatively easy to paint, airbrush mainly, and then it's all the fucking brush detail work. So
I mean, some would
that
say
should-
you already had your Assassin's Creed, so you could have just done that. But no, we won't go there.
Would you like to see what the state of my Assassin's Creed, boys and girls? It's in a box. It's made its way to the desk.
If anybody wants to see what Assassin's Creed looks like, David's copy looks like, if you go to the website, what's the name of the company that does it?
No, sir, because that is not a CAD render color, is it? So fuck you.
Oh no, okay, okay, that doesn't work. Yeah, in a box, grey, sort of PVC. That's it. That's the look you're going for.
I finally, actually, about 3 weeks ago, went over to the parents and reclaimed it out of a wardrobe because I'd left it in a wardrobe since I moved last year. Like that's how much Assassin's Creed's been on my mind this year. It's been lurking in the bottom of a wardrobe. Fuck it, it's not my problem. But yeah, I've done that. I've done some Mythic Battles Ragnarok, but not an extensive amount of Mythic Battles Ragnarok at the moment.
Not 175 of them.
No, not 175. Maybe 6 fully finished.
Okay, yeah.
We'll
So
go
not
with 6
not
fully.
0, but more importantly, not even close to what you did the year before.
Again, Wild West Exodus has been sat on my desk for ages and still no progress versus last year where I was at this point.
Again, not to want to heap more misery on the feel bads, but in terms of miniatures, I've done probably better this year than I did last year, because I've obviously painted.
I did a couple of dwarven boats. As well.
Yeah, I
probably
painted
pushing about 40.
Yeah, I've done some Armada. I've done some Fantasy Goblins. I've done some Carnivale. I did the Wild West Exodus minis the other month. About 20 odd. Essentially half of the first edition starter set. So I haven't done too bad.
No, choose me.
But still, so come on then. Number 3 is the winner. I managed to do number 3. Surely you managed to do number 3.
A campaign style game with a game a month. Yes, I absolutely knocked that out of the park. I've been playing some Frostgrave.
Yep.
I haven't necessarily been playing some narrative campaign with Alex, but again, this year I've really focused on Flames and learning Flames.
Yep.
And I've done probably 6 games of Flames across the course of the year just with Alex.
Yep.
Which has been quite nice. What else have I done that was sort of narrative-y? There was something else that I've done. Did some Frostgrave. Gaslands. Didn't play any Legacy, Gaslands Legacy, but
That's sort of like the one where you develop your drivers and
yeah,
cars and shit, is it?
did get some in. So what I think we can take away from what we signed up for at the beginning of this year was things that aren't related to hobby commitments we've actually achieved,
Yeah.
i.e. you going to a show and me playing some campaign games.
Yeah, but you basically, yeah, like you say, there was no hobby element to those resolutions. It was just do something. Relatively easy.
I didn't sign up to too much. I mean, again, I didn't do full spectrum dominance, but I have printed a shit ton of dwarves and got a new printer. So
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
swings and
again, like you
roundabouts.
say, it's not as if you haven't 3D printed nothing. It's just that you didn't 3D print the thing that you made the commitment for.
Yeah.
So, having ascertained that we're both fucking failures and only got one of our 3 resolutions even closer to done, let's talk about, like you say, about a fortnight after we had these brilliant ideas to make resolutions, we suddenly had this also brilliant idea in our own heads to commit to a year of terrain, didn't we?
We did.
And what we said was, well, when we're on live stream, we're going to focus on painting terrain, and we're going to get our terrain hobby mojo going and get some terrain painted. And Night Cheese Me, and the two factors, the two things that we've just talked about, are not unrelated, don't you think, mate?
Yeah, I've particularly been down on miniatures because it took me 3 weeks to build a fucking crematorium from War Cradle.
You really feel that hammered your hobby mojo.
I've spent 2 or 3 streams doing the cat house. I've done some of the other stuff earlier this year, etc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By building and doing that, it has unfortunately eaten into what I've achieved myself.
And I would echo that entirely, because even though we made the commitment to do the terrain thing on the stream, and you could say, oh, well, in that case, why weren't you doing your regular painting and hobby when you're not streaming? The problem is that when you start these sort of like projects to paint this terrain piece or these, like,
I'll tell you the other thing with terrain. It takes up so much desk space that
yeah,
you have to move everything away,
yeah,
start your terrain. You have a session doing your terrain, and then you go away and do something else. You then come back and the terrain's still sat there in its half finished state because you got really fucking irate with it and wanted to launch it out the window.
yeah.
And you do a bit more on it, and then you get fucking irritated by it again. At least with a handful of miniatures, I'm getting sick and tired of painting this detail. Fucking launch it across the room, pick up something else as a refresher.
Yes. And the thing is as well, no, painting, because again, the thumbnail said we were going to share with some of the things we've learned, and I think what we've learned is that terrain is if you want to just lose a fuck ton of time, focus on terrain, because there's a double-edged sword to it. If you are painting something that's interesting to paint, I'll put quotations around that remark, interesting to paint. So you're trying to paint something that's interesting. It's busy as fuck. It's got tons of details. There's loads of little things going on. Thinking of some of the stupid Games Workshop kits where you've got details layered on fucking details, right?
Yeah. I mean, again,
That takes a huge amount of time. If you switch it up and say, "Oh, I'm just going to paint a few containers or some crates," the problem
well,
with
this
those
is what.
is they're so fucking boring. After you've done an hour, you're ready to quit. So you
Again,
can't
I
win.
mean, by the same token, yes, I've got some Gasland. I've got some paint on my Gasland stuff. Something that I have been wanting to do for ages, and it looks really good for it. Bearing in mind it's just base coat. It's just
Yeah,
airbrush base coat. I've not even dry brushed it. There was a few that I was doing in a dry brushed, and they look a little odd compared to the others that are just flat base coat. But I haven't got round to putting the fucking dry brushing on all the other containers yet because it's just been a chore. Like I've been
yeah,
happy with the progress that I made getting most of the stuff not grey anymore.
yeah,
That I'm like, well, actually, I'll play some games with it like this. I mean, again, my flames. I have put all of the clump foliage on my trees for Flames of War, and they look really good for it. I've only got round to sealing half because I haven't got the space in my study to seal them.
yeah,
So I sealed half of them on the kitchen table, then parked it for some reason, put them all away, played a couple of games with them, and then I'm like, oh, I've got to get all that out now and fucking seal it. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yep. I mean,
Um,
let's
it's
talk a little bit more about our year of terrain and what we actually achieved, right? So, like, to say I'm gonna have a year where I focus on terrain, I did have what I consider to be some quite good wins. I have assembled 4 or 5 good pieces for Mythos, the Dunsmouth terrain from TT Combat, the coloured MDF stuff. Literally,
no
not TT Combat,
fucking War
fucking War
Cradle.
Cradle. Thank you.
Every fucking time do you get those two mixed up, you
Wait until
old
TT start
senile
doing
bastard.
pre-coloured, mate. It'll just that's it. I'll never get them apart again. Um, so pre-coloured stuff, just had to glue it together. Yeah, win, done. What else have I done? I've bought basically an entire fucking Armada table pre-finished when I was at Partisan,
Yeah,
wasn't
but
it?
that's cheating because you bought it pre-finished. What hobby did you have to do on it?
Absolutely none. And you know what? That's why it got done. um,
Because again, I was just about to say this actually. Yes, you've got your Mythos done,
yeah,
but take your Carnivale terrain.
yeah,
You've been working on that now for over 12
yeah.
months.
Well over a year, more like 2 years.
It's a slog. Well, again, you've still not got your Frostgrave fully finished, but we'll gloss
No,
over that now.
but again, it's the same thing though,
But again,
mate.
again, coming just back to the TT situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
TT's the painted MTF. It takes you forever to do anything. It's fucking lathered in beautiful details and gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous elements there.
Particularly Carnivale as well, because you're going to paint everything intense colours. You're not just
Yeah,
going to
no,
fucking
no,
spray
no
it all
one,
grey.
no one can argue that. But at least with the Carnivale stuff, you've been painting it. We've been playing with it.
Yeah.
You've spent time doing, and again, this is sort of the other thing that I just want to touch on here. You've done your Mythos. Have we touched Mythos?
No.
No. We've gone, oh, that'd be a nice idea. Let's get some terrain done for it. Again, my Wild West Exodus, I've said I want to get my Wild West Exodus table done before I do my miniatures. So again, that's half of the reason
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
my Wild West Exodus miniatures are sat here on my desk as a constant reminder
Yeah.
that, well, actually, David, you need to be doing the
Putting that
terrain
together.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I tell you, but again, if I could buy the Carnivale stuff pre-coloured, I'd buy it. I would buy it every day.
And again, this is what I'm just about to say. Like the pre-coloured War Cradle stuff I've got is nice. And it is a lot easier to do because again, by the same token, it took me a session just to do the Sarissa windmill that I got.
Yeah.
The base coat it while it's on sprue, throw it all together. It's still sat on my desk here, not quite finished. It
And
still
like you say,
needs
you
me
did
to
have
go
a go at
round
painting that on the sprue as well.
I've got to go around the edges and where I've popped out and do that.
Yeah, cover the
But
sprue scars.
the everything else on it is basically at this point done within reason. It's done and it's built. But again, that you think, oh, that won't take you 5 minutes to do, and
Yeah.
yet it's taken probably at this point about 3.5 hours.
Yeah. And that's
Just with
the
going
thing.
backwards and forwards to it and bitty.
Yeah.
And that's one tiny little fucking 75 by 75 base. That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that David and I could possibly be accused of letting our collections of terrain fester, and because again, somebody who might be smarter than us, somebody who might be smarter than us might say in the comments or in the chat, yeah, but why don't you paint a bit every week? Why don't you just keep working on your collection piecemeal and not leave it to the point where you realise you need to get an entire fucking table done and do the entire table? And I think the truth is you and I are spoiled by our gaming club, aren't you, mate?
Well, again, this is what I was just about to come to with sort of, we've been doing the stuff that we're playing with, particularly for myself. Like you with your Carnivale, you've been playing with your Carnivale because whilst club has some,
the club stuff isn't painted either.
No, it's not fully finished, is it?
No, because it's such a beast. Who the fuck's going to do it?
So we've been playing with a mix of Carnivale stuff, etc. Me, with my Flames of War table, the only reason I've focused on getting my Flames of War table done is because I made a commitment to Alex to play some games with Alex. Club doesn't have a 15mm terrain set.
Nope.
So therefore, I've had to get the fuck on with it.
And I mean, that is almost certainly why you've done it.
The church is still not finished. The stone walls are still not finished.
Yeah. The only bit that's finished, the roads are finished, aren't they?
Roads are finished because I bought them. The rivers
finished.
that I bought at Partisan that I got done. The Wargame Empire 15mm buildings, they're virtually all finished. There's just 2 with dodgy roofs because of the cut issues.
That need a little bit of
I need to
fixing.
sort out and tidy up. Yeah. So they're done. I've printed some bases for Flames of War objectives, and I've got an idea of what I'm doing with them. I just need to print the miniatures that are going on there for objectives.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say probably by about UK Games Expo next year, I'll probably have my Flames of War table done. But that's if I don't start doing other stuff. I mean, again, you only got to look at the start of the stream when I was playing Armada. I started printing Armada terrain.
Yeah.
The spoiler that Paul gave you all earlier, that means I've got to start printing and doing a sci-fi set. Because I'll be doing it at my own time and I can't lean on club. And this comes to what Paul was saying. We at club have such a good collection of terrain that is varied and useful for multiple games.
I mean, some of it is a bit vanilla, but it's so easy to repurpose,
again,
isn't it?
Is this the argument that after a year we're coming to? And touching on the terrain hog stream that we had the other week, that even if the game doesn't seem like a terrain hog because you don't need a billion pieces of scatter because it's not fucking infinity, looking at you, Corvus Belly, I will attack you. You still, even games that you think, oh, it's just, for example, Flames. It's a 6x4 map, some roads, a village, some fields, some trees. It should all be relatively simple to do. It's usable in multiple games, multiple systems. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It shouldn't be Oh, well, I've still got that to do. Like, I should have just got my trees sealed. I should have got all my bases dry brushed. I bought some Hills Callistra at Partisan. I've got them base coated, but they're still sat on my stairs waiting for me to bring them upstairs because I need to get a big black bin bag out to flock them.
Because again, it's what you said about space. Some of the jobs you do with terrain are so messy
Yeah.
that you've got to. I mean, to be fair, I gave up and bought some Colourforge primer and just did the baseboards of my Carnivale set, the actual sort of like plaza bits that you actually
Yeah.
build your landform out of, and just used the bloody Colourforge stuff because I knew I wasn't going to get round to airbrushing them. I'd be there all fucking day. But again, I had to sort of like sheet down the kitchen because obviously it's fucking winter here in the UK. You can't go spraying outdoors in -3 degrees, fucking 80% humidity. So I had to sort of like sheet down everything in the kitchen so I wasn't back spraying aerosol all over the fucking place. You know, open the windows in the fucking freezing cold. And I got the job done, but it's like it took me half a day to set up, half a day to do the job, and then half a day, you know, the rest of the day to pack up when everything was dried. It's just such a fucking beast. This is why, for me, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard me rant about it before, but every opportunity you get to buy terrain that you literally rip it out of the box, like the old Christmas morning test, you tear the cellophane off, put it on the table, and rub your hands together and walk away, do that. Doesn't matter if it looks expensive, do it.
Again, I've been busy printing like scatter for my Space Station Zero and for our game dev stuff. I've been doing work, setting my printer up, letting it run, cleaning them up once they're off, but I haven't taken the next step to spray them and paint them.
Yeah, I mean that's you're right. You're talking about a whole new level of fucking stuff there because like you're manufacturing the fucking things. This is like a whole new level of work. This is what's always put
No,
me
but
off
again,
3D printing.
there are elements here that other people in our hobby scratch build buildings,
I
scratch
know.
build the etc. Do you know what I mean? And I genuinely don't know how they do it.
No, do you know
Like
what? That
again,
is very fair.
Ewok has. I know Ewok's just 3D printed all his elf thing, and it's for the project that's on OTT. But Ewok, I am going to shout you out here because, dude, that terrain with you painting it, putting all that flock on it, and everything else looks amazing. It's the same way with my lighthouse for Frostgrave, the only finished building I have for Frostgrave. It looks amazing on the table with the icicles and the snow on it and everything else.
Yeah,
But I haven't done the rest of the set. Half of it's still in boxes. Some of it's in various stages of priming. It's one of those things that we haven't progressed on it. Again, this year with you and your Frostgrave terrain, we've had no sessions this year where I've come over to yours like I did the year before, and we were just chipping away at your Frostgrave. This year for us, our Saturday nights that we have every other week have been very focused on playing some games, getting some enjoyment, and doing some game dev work to hopefully bring some stuff to you guys longer term.
Yeah.
Because it's the only time that me and Paul can get together to work on it.
But again, it's what you said about, you know, terrain feeling a slog. Maybe we've got like a mental block. I mean, that's really interesting. You know, if you're somebody who finds terrain effortless, I almost can't even say it without feeling nauseous because it just
I
doesn't
feel
compute.
sick, boys and girls. I feel sick.
It's like, how? Just tell us, what's your secret? What? I mean, is it all about the motivation? You know, is it just about cutting corners? Is it just techniques and skill? Are we just fucking amateurs?
I mean, again,
what the
I've not
fuck?
touched my drop zone this year. I don't even think I've played a game of drop zone this year, which is fucking terrible when you think about it.
Yeah. But
Have
again,
you played a game this year of drop zone?
I don't think so. I don't think I played a 3-way game with Luke and Ricky, but I couldn't tell you if this was this year or last year. I'll be
I
honest. I
think it
could
was the
probably check my
tail end of
Google
last year
calendar.
because I'm fairly sure I dropped the train off because I wasn't available that week because I was doing something. Oh no, that might have been February
Okay.
when I was over in Norfolk because I had a works thing over in Norfolk,
yeah.
didn't I?
So maybe I've got one game in. But again, to be fair, I actually prior to that game finished my a load of models for my Scourge. You know, got all of my landing craft and tanks painted. I've just got the infantry to do. So, you know, I've definitely got the miniature painting down. It's just fuck the terrain, man. But there
I
is
think,
there is no
and
not
again, I
doing it
think
though, is there?
no, and
This is
again,
the other thing.
this is sort of I've said to you, and I know Paul's just spoiled, obviously, kind of what my New Year's resolution is going to be. But my plans for 2025 were to film some solo content, playing a like 5 parsecs. I don't currently own any sci-fi terrain. So I've been motivating myself of get some stuff printed, let's get some stuff played, except start getting some stuff printed so that I can hit the ground running in 2025 and sort of have a commitment to bring some stuff to you boys and girls. Because if I don't commit to doing it, it's just going to not ever get done. Like, I just want to print some sci-fi terrain that I can build like an infinity table with. And again, I've got games now that need the sci-fi. Blackout that I've started playing with Ricky the other week. My Star Scrappers that I've played historically other years. I've got games that need sci-fi terrain and it's lacking in my collection. So I really need to nail it. And if I do stuff that's relatively generic, I can use it for multiple different gaming systems, put it on multiple mats, and it's fine. But it's just the sheer thought and terror of not own. And again, yes, I'm painting myself into a corner here because I'm printing a load of stuff and bits and pieces myself. But I've got work to do to even get it to a stage that I can put primer on it to start painting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's my idea of living hell.
It's not ideal, boys and girls.
I mean,
I tell you what I am interested about though, and I might try and find a news article for it next week. I was having a dig through the internet the other day, as I do, and Flashforge, who is a 3D printing manufacturer for those that don't know, have patented full color CMYK printing. So if that is something that Flashforge are patenting and looking to bring, God, that could be a godsend.
what
in
is?
this
Do we
hobby.
know what medium that is? Is that resin?
No, it'll be FDM.
It'll be FDM. Okay.
I'm fairly sure.
Because
I don't
obviously,
think Flashforge have a resin printer.
okay, that's fair enough. Obviously, it's your area of expertise, not mine. I mean,
Because that
What
is
if-
one thing I will say about the War Cradle stuff. The War Cradle stuff is a little flat.
it is. But then again,
And I think even the Micro Art Studios and TT Combat Chroma way of approaching pre-color, yes, it works, but you can still tell it's flat MDF. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I don't.
And this is why I'm quite excited for this Flash Forge thing. See what comes of it, because that could be a real game changer. Full color
I mean, even if
FDM, so you've got the texture, even if the color, even if it's only a few colors. Do you know what I mean?
but I mean, what I was going to say was, even if it's passable, so that you only have to do the weathering step. Do you know what I mean? To
Yeah,
desaturate the colours and create some interesting colour variation.
yeah.
Even
Put
if
like
that's
some
all that you
dirty
have to
down.
do, that's still
Oh
going
yeah,
to be a massive step up. Um, I mean, it's been a fairly negative sort of whiny stream, I feel, and I hope that you guys haven't, I hope you guys don't find it too, too miserable to watch. But we've got about 10 minutes. If you were to give sort of like pieces of advice, or your sort of like to deliver on the sort of like,
TLDR.
yeah, to deliver on the thumbnail, like the thing that's right at the front of your brain, if you were to give somebody in the hobby advice about terrain, what
I
would be
think
your
there's
top
two
one or
things here.
two things? Yeah, go on, go to them.
I think the first thing is, don't underestimate the amount of time something's going to take, even if it's just tiny little scatter pieces
Yep.
for assembling it. And again, like your boxes that you've done for Frostgrave are a prime example of this. They look really good. They're just assembled. You haven't done anything else to them. They look really good because they are what they are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like you say,
Um,
they need weathering. They've got no colour variation. They've got nothing going on.
is the first thing. And if you're going to leading from this of things take time, if you are going to invest time in sorting a terrain collection, do stuff that's useful for multiple games, please, please, please. If you are that guy, because you're going to spend several hours of your life doing something, you might as well spend those several hours of your life doing something that you can use for 3 or 4 games than only one.
Yeah.
I think is my first TLDR.
My first one would be, don't let your terrain collection fall behind your miniatures collection.
Yeah, that's what I was about to come at on my second.
Yeah, if, like David says, don't underestimate the amount of work that goes into it, but also don't underestimate how important it is for a gaming experience. Unless you are somebody who literally just paints display models, so the only terrain you're ever going to need is a Kallax unit with an LED in it, then that's fine. But if you are a wargamer, when you've painted your first little project, paint a couple of pieces of terrain to go with it. Do it from the beginning. Make it part of the hobby from the beginning. Don't get 2 years in, and you've got best part of your first 40k army finished, but the only thing you've got to play it on is a green bed sheet and some Encyclopedia Britannicas from your granddad. Yeah? Don't let yourself get into that position. That would be my first tip.
And I think, as I say, so my first tip was sort of go universal, particularly if you're playing multiple games, because of the amount of time you're going to invest in doing this shit.
Textured paint for MDF terrain is genius. Tester pots. I've seen so many YouTubers use tester pots, just the stuff that you buy from the DIY store. And you can get exterior tester pots with texture in, like fine grit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Adds texture to MDF in a flash. But
And I think
my other piece of advice, my second piece of advice, is do not undervalue your time, and by sort of like by relation to that, don't be scared of ready to play terrain. If it looks expensive, take a deep breath and honestly think about how much of your time would go into it if you manufactured it yourself, painted it yourself, whatever. And you might still come to the conclusion, now my time's worth nothing. Okay? But, don't automatically write it off. But and I'm being entirely selfish here. I think the pre-finished terrain market could potentially be one of the biggest in our hobby, because I think the misery, and that's the wrong
The
way of putting it.
misery is
The misery, I
no.
was about to say the misery of our last 12 months. This has not been a miserable thing. Do you know what? I've achieved the objective. Again, let's end on a positive note. I am pleased with the last year. Have I achieved my resolutions as I set myself? No, I have not. But have I got a fair amount of miniatures painted? Yes. Have I got a fair amount of terrain done? And does now my terrain collection look a lot better than it did 12 months ago? Oh, shit, yeah. I mean, I've got, it might only be a large tent for Frostgrave and some bloody barbed wire fence things that are 80% finished, and some MDF buildings from like 1920s ramshackle America. But I can stick them in all sorts of games. And they're things that I can use. I was thinking, we were talking about Malifaux before we came on live. I'll tell you what, mate, that Dunsmouth stuff could make great Malifaux terrain for a Bayou type
I
look.
think you just do it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just come to me. Because this is what David was saying, right? We were talking about, again, before we came live, we were talking about Carnivale, and David said something about a pirate game, and I said, well, I wouldn't bother making any terrain for a pirate game. I'd just use my Carnivale terrain, but build like a port with jetties and put ships on it. So, you know what I mean? Instead of using the canal idea, I just build a port side. And it's like, there you go, done. Multi-purpose. But I've enjoyed this year. What about you, mate?
Say,
Well,
I haven't had my second thing.
Oh, haven't you? Sorry, I thought you had, buddy.
No, so I think my second thing with the terrain is don't be afraid of making compromise. Don't, in a similar vein to what Paul said, don't get 2 years into a game and have not played the game because the terrain's not done. Do it iteratively as you're going through and doing your miniatures. Have a game, enjoy the game, play the game, add the terrain you need. So, and the main reason I'm saying this is Paul this year, as he's already just sort of touched on and mentioned there, we've been adding little bits and pieces here and there to his Frostgrave collection for the Red King campaign that we've been doing. It's actually been a really nice way of bulking out his terrain collection, because we've looked at what scenario we need. We know we've got a month to sort of sort bits out for it, and we did it, didn't we? Do you know what I mean? It's a far better way to play your game and develop your terrain collection than either A, play a game for 2 years and then go, oh, I want a terrain collection for it now, and you have 2 years worth of play experience.
Yeah, you've been leaning on your club, stroke friend, stroke.
You don't actually know what terrain you want or what look you want to go for. But then by the flip token, don't commit to doing the entire table before you've even played a game with it, because you
Yeah.
might absolutely hate the fucking game.
Yeah.
So get a few bits if it's a particularly unique setting, say Carnivale. I mean, Carnivale, fuck me, you can play the small points games on like 2x2 boards. So get enough to sort out what you need on a 2x2 board, play a few games of it, and then go, right, in 2 months' time, we're going to go all the way up to 100 ducats. So we now need a 3x3 board.
Yeah.
What do we think that we need to add to this to make it work? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And this is sort of my point here of that has been the biggest thing for me, because this year, at the start of this year, I just had walls, village, road, mat, and tree bases, but no greenery on my trees.
Yep.
I've added the greenery to the trees. It made the map feel more alive. Yes,
Yep.
they're not sealed, but I've done something in relation to that.
Yeah.
Said to Alex, like, these roads are nice, but actually we need something that's sort of a dividing line, like a stream running across the board. Went out and bought some rivers, played with some rivers in a game, worked really, really well in changing the dynamic of the flow of the game, the movement of the game, everything else.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that actually the better way to get your terrain collection is to work on it iteratively. Yes, have a goal in your mind long term of I want to be at this point by this time of the year, for example. But work on it iteratively, step through it iteratively, add stuff as you play the game. Because again, you might be playing a game like we say it time and time again with Carnivale. Carnivale has rules for rope, fast elevators as per Assassin's Creed, and zip lines. And we keep coming back to, should we get some to play with the rules and play with it? Long-term answer is probably yes, but there's already quite a lot of moving parts in Carnivale.
Yep.
I think before we commit to spending the money pool to get said items,
Yep.
we should play a game or two with those rules, with representations, whether it be tokens, something just whittled out of matchsticks for that particular game. If we like it, we can do it. If we're at a point of, well, this isn't really, I can't see it not adding to the game, but it doesn't really add a lot, then why are we bothering?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was just about to say actually something very similar. So, I mean, just to paraphrase what you've just said, you just said basically, don't feel that you've got to get everything and do everything all at once. You know, because it's like you said with the zip line rules and the elevators, it would be nice to have them on our tables in Carnivale, but we don't miss them, and the game has got enough going on that we're not sitting there bored going, oh, God, I wish there was more to this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really don't need everything. And by the same token, when you do start with your terrain collection or whatever, keep it focused in the same way that you would build an army project. So when you if you've made your list and you know roughly what forces you need to field your army, you'll buy and paint those forces first, and you'll do that first. David made a comment the other day. We were talking about the Carnivale terrain that both I and the club have, and we were saying about the base sections that actually build out the landform. And David was saying we've got far too many of these. We never use half of this shit. Because obviously we're playing on 2x2 and 3x3 mats. We don't need everything that we've got. And that's also...
It gives us options for building and changing the board layout, etc., rather than it being traditionally square. Yeah. So there is a flip side to that. But again, when I have a 30-litre tote,
yeah,
and about a third of it's still sat in the bottom of a tote, when we're playing a Carnivale game on a 3x3 board, we don't need it all.
No. And the thing
We
is,
do
it's
not
like
need it
this.
all.
If you say you buy a bundle of terrain and you get a great deal, or you get it second hand and it's half done or not even touched or whatever, take your mat or where your table space, lay out what you need, set it aside, work on it. Leave the rest. Focus on the bits.
I was about to say what you want to do in a similar vein to what Paul's saying. Lay it out, get what you want, then have a couple of if you've got a couple of other scattery pieces that are smaller, just add those into the pile as well.
Yeah.
Because that little bit of work to add a couple of containers for a game, for example,
Yeah.
will mean that you will have more variance when it comes to playing the game than if you just do one board layout.
Yeah. And I tell you, great. David's already mentioned it. Frostgrave. If you've not played Frostgrave, Frostgrave is a great game to teach people about terrain collections, because the core premise is you need ruined buildings, fantasy medieval-esque, made out of stone, covered in snow and falling to bits. And then for each scenario, you'll need something a little bit odd. Like you'll need a tower with at least 3 stories, or you'll need a fountain, or you'll need, and you start with your canvas, and you just the game then says, get this as well.
I tell you,
You'll just need this.
I tell you the other massive thing on that vein.
No.
If the game has a recommended table size, play it at that table size, build the terrain collection for that table size.
Yeah.
Paul and me had a really shit game on a 4x4 of flames. Going to 6x4, along with me building my terrain collection out to fully fill that 6x4 and give me options and give me versatility, as I've already just mentioned, has been amazing.
Yeah.
By the same token, we used to play Frostgrave on a 4x4, which is a fucking huge commitment for terrain.
It is much better at 3x3. And even
or
2x2.
even 2x2.
Yeah. The game is actually better. For
So
less play
don't
space.
fall into, well, I can make it up as I go along. There's a game recommended size of play surface for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can't test the waters. But again,
yes,
even if you take a different view to me and David and say, oh well, no, I think this game plays better at 4x4. Say I think Flames plays better at 4x4. Fine, test the waters for yourself. But when you've decided what your play size should be, just build your terrain collection for that.
I mean, again, the same token, I've got a 3x3 mat now for not Flames.
I absolutely do not regret pushing myself to focus on terrain way more than I would have done without actually making a deliberate effort to push myself to do it. I think, and as is probably obvious from the comments we made earlier, I fucking wish that I had got smart about terrain a lot longer ago.
I think Upworld may have just hit the nail on his head with the last statement he's made. It's consistency. As we've already said about, paint some minis, paint some terrain. Again, when you get sick and tired of painting minis, go to terrain. Don't do what me and Paul have done, which is we're behind schedule on this. Let's do this for a year.
Yeah.
Because there's been
that's
times
the other
me
thing.
and Paul have,
I'm glad I've done this, but don't do it like this.
Yeah. We've been your guinea pigs.
Yeah, we did this, so you didn't have to.
Exactly. So yeah, boys and girls, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah,
so
we're going to leave it there.
It's been a learning experience, but learn from our mistakes and what we have learned from.
Waffly show done. Public service announcement done. Thanks very much if you watched along on YouTube. Thank you very much, as usual, to the stars of the show, who are the people in the chat. We appreciate you guys greatly. And without these guys, the show wouldn't be what it is. So if you can only find time to do one thing tonight before you go to bed, just click the like button over here in the corner. If you can do any of the other YouTube shenanigans, share, comment, subscribe, then that's fantastic. Do what you think gives value to you. All that we ask is that you give us a thumbs up. That's all that we need to know that we've actually helped, given you some enjoyment. And with that, I think we are done for the night, and we will away to our beds to dream about painting terrain. MDF
No.
terrain.
Miniatures.
All
Miniatures
the
now.
fucking terrain. Night.